That's right. We are going live with ARMS Online Invitational NA number 13. Adam Brain versus Mr. Table will be our first battle. These players will be taking on a best of 5 match to see who will advance and eventually, hopefully, climb to the top of the bracket and claim that title of the Season 13 champion. Who's it gonna be? Who's gonna take this first round? I wanna see votes in chat. I can do a poll. We could do things. We're already getting ready. I'm not gonna waste our time. So we are going to get things rolling. So let's just see in the comments. Who do you think's got this? Do you think Mr. Table's gonna win? Or do you think Adam Brain's gonna outwit us all? Gonna tune in right now, because we have just that coming in. Mr. Table coming in, Toaster, Cooler Rain, and Thunderbird. Adam Brain, I did not see the full loadout, but we've got a Lockjaw and a Tri-Blast. Now, that is not a loadout you see every day. That is a heavyweight arm. That thing is a big, beefy monstrosity with 2 projectiles. Great at powering down and eating any and all shields. A little hard to aim, especially against a fast, swift character. A dancy one like Quintel. But to balance that out, we do have the Tri-Blast to have spread pressure. And so far, Mr. Table has been doing a pretty solid job of pressuring, of playing. I am seeing a couple of shenanigans. I know I have seen a couple of shenanigans. I am not sponsored by Nintendo, so I am allowed to call out their Wi-Fi and be like, Nintendo, that rush should have landed? What's going on here? Mr. Table trying to be a little aggressive, greeted with that rush. We see him feeling the pressure, misses out on a rush opportunity, and he's like, alright, well, I'm gotta pop it now. Adam just cleanly blocks it. And doesn't even get that much damage. Oh, but we see fear in Adam's eyes. And Mr. Table will be cleaning out that first point with a grab. Setting himself with at least set advantage. We're gonna throw out another rush. Again, I feel like that might have connected, but that was also just Tri-Blast. Mr. Table making a wise pick with his loadout. One of the hardest things to stop with a heavy arm are curve arms, because they don't go straight. And as you might have noticed, most heavy arms, especially this Lockjaw that's kind of being used in play right now, it's a very straightforward arm. It's very direct, much like Nintendo's showcases. They like to kind of go in and just get straight to the point. And these curve arms have a really easy time getting around. But just because you're getting around it doesn't mean you're getting the kill. As that Lockjaw does manage to connect before the shock activates. Adam Brain balancing up the score. Both players now ready with their own rushes. Both in very, very good positions here to be able to take this first point. It really just depends on how things go out. We get a miss on that Lockjaw. As Adam was just like, I've missed the Tri-Blast both of these times so far, I just need to pop it. The one time he connected. It's the one time he connected. That's gonna do it. That stings a little bit. We get the shock. He's just gonna go for the rush. Nice full 335 for Table. Surprisingly, not actually setting up with too much of a lead. It's actually quite an even score, especially off of that Tri-Blast tip or chip. Nice rush to block that. He's not going to... That was definitely more of a defensive rush there. Just seeing that Thunderbird was there, he was like, I do not want to get shocked. I'm not getting reliable rushes, so I'm just going to accept that this is for defense. Does get the chip damage and a little 70 on the top as Table rushes things. and is now in the Hot Pocket. You see Mr. Table is trying to break free. We have Explosive Blast burning down his meter as he walks into the other Hot Pocket, and that is going to be the KO. Adam Brain claiming the first point of our match. So what do you think, chat? Adam Brain's got the lead. Do you still... Does anybody think Mr. Table still has it? Do you think it's already in the bag for Adam? I think there's a lot of room for anything to happen here. We've seen Mr. Table demonstrate some fine, clear abilities with his Twin Tail. I know Adam Brain has a few other characters in his pocket if he wants to bring them out. But that was a solid showcase of Master Mummy. It was a very solid showcase of Master Mummy. Very difficult character to play well. Let me tell you, he is big, he's angry, and he is an easy target for people to hit. He's got the longest charge and he's got one of the biggest girth sizes, but unfortunately that does not mean much in the competitive scene when everybody's just throwing out toasters. Which is probably why he's got that lockjaw. It's a really easy way just to be like, you're gonna throw a toaster, I'm gonna throw a big heavy thing. Unfortunately, he's not really getting that tempo. Via can be a really positive stage for him, but it can just work as well for Table as there is lots of room, as you can clearly see, for Adam to be dodging and moving about. Which means that those Thunderbirds are going to be a little more effective. These sudden grabs are going to be far more painful. And it's also going to be immeasurably more difficult for either player to not be in the corner. We see very clearly there, that was like a lot of corner pressure. Also lag. You can tell a match is laggy based on how long it takes for the KO to be registered on the final hit. And that was a good like 5 frames or even more. Like, you can imagine how difficult of a match this might be for both of these players, or one of these players. If I'm going to take a gander, I'm going to say Adam Brain. I'm going to say this is an even more difficult fight just because of the lag that he's dealing with here. Because, yeah, that Slap-a-Mander just hit nothing. I don't know what I don't know what kind of witchcraft Table has going on with his netcode, but it's doing numbers, I'll tell you that. As he is going to be able to claim this point and balance the score to 1 apiece. Still think it's in the bag for Adam? Still think he's got this? Table got a point. It is now 1 apiece. As I've heard from people, I'm not sure if it's just an arms thing or a fighting game thing beyond, but I have heard that the most important set of a match in arms, or in a lot of fighting games, is this one right here. Whoever gets the 2 first is in a very advantageous position. Because they have to lose twice in a row to be able to be knocked out. Depending on how the match is going, maybe even more. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Adam Brain going in with a sizable loadout change. We have a Fun Chuck and Nade. The Fun Chuck going to be a very powerful tool for parrying those ranged, those curvy attacks. Also good at setting up. Stun lock confirms if Adam can see the window. And then yeah, that Nade is doing what explosives do. Fun Chuck, this is a personal favorite build of mine. I like it. Fun Chuck especially because it has a notable ability in that the closer you are, like, I mean, obviously this is a given. This is a given when I say this, but the closer you are to yourself when an attack is... Ooh! gonna recover far more quickly than that disarm as Table was mashing the rush there. We do get the KO here. But the closer you are to your arm when it parries with and clashes with another arm, the sooner it comes back. Now the reason why it's special with the Fun Chuck, which are unfortunately same thing put away, understandable, is if it is on the character, if it is on you when you get the deflect, it has a 0 frame recovery rate, which means that you can spam it. I have had cases where there's like 3 or 4 attacks coming at me, and I just pummeled all of them down with the Fun Chuck, and it is the best feeling ever. Speaking of, another good feeling is breaking someone's shield, which Lockjaw is very effective at doing. With that massive amount of chip damage, if you can get that timing rolling. Adam is in KO range of this rush, but he does manage to get the 1-2 punch in just before Table gets his chance to pop rush. And that is going to bring things back to 1 apiece. Table is in a slight advantage as he's got the rush, but Adam's quickly going to recover his and get it ready. This rush will do a little bit of damage. 325. We've got pressure. We've got another shock into grab, the Twin Tail Classic. He's just throwing out these Thunderbirds. He just knows that there's very little that can be done against it. And he is just capitalizing. But, I mean, if he gets the timing run on his attacks, that is 400 damage to his health meter. As Lockjaw has one of the strongest rushes in this game. You see him baiting, you see him poking, and he is going to be able to reach through. That Lockjaw was still recovering. We get one more hit, and it looks like Table's going to be in the lead 2-1. As the Via Dolge rematch goes in his favor. Looks like we are holding the same bands, but this time we are going to be moving to Temple Grounds. Now this is still anybody's game. Adam Brain is free to change his character choice, and it looks like he has made the decision to switch over to Twin Tail. Not seeming to be in the mood to go through that comeback bracket run that so many of our other top players tend to be very, very favorable of. Where they'll gladly go until their final point, and then they'll be like, alright, now I'm gonna sway. Now I'm gonna sway. Adam going in pure ice build, just looking for any kind of ice chain damage. Table going in with the steady, tried and true toaster, better at boxing. While you don't get ice chain combos, you don't get mind games. You do get 130 damage and some rush negation. Starting this round off. Adam is holding on to a light lead. Managing to keep this pressure. He got a really good ice chain a few moments ago that did about like most of Table's health, or at least over a quarter of Table's health. No, a third. And then we got one more freeze into grab. Table was just like a little too hesitant there to press that rush. Could have been a good window, but you see a Twin Tail that close, you don't know what they're gonna do. That could be a bait. They could just go for the grab. Adam was just like, I'm just gonna go for the grab here. You're a Twin Tail too. You're gonna expect me to just start with a bait, which means that now it's gonna be really easy to bait for a rush the next time he gets a freeze. Because Table's probably gonna be like, oh, well, you're just gonna go for a greedy grab or something, maybe. You get them thinking, you get them fearing, and you can start messing. See, we only got 130 off of that poster. Nice grab though. Keeps Table in the match. Keeps him at a health lead. And Adam is struggling to build up this rush. We finally get the freeze. We get another freeze. We do get the parry with a perfect timed rush. As Adam is a little too slow and we get some full damage out of that. Adam is critical on health. And I think this is going to be it, unless Table's a little too hesitant. He's trying to farm rush here. That cooler rain just went right through Table. Yeah, Table's lagging. I'm just going to say it. That cooler rain went completely through Table there. Can we get some F's in chat for the netcode? We just got back and it's already chugging and crying. We just got back. Nice toaster hit. Slowly slows down Adam Brain's rush generation. Table does have a rush advantage right now if he can capitalize on it. He is just throwing out punches though, looking to pressure Adam. If he got some arm damage, it could be a really good just shield breaker rush if he finds that moment. But it's going to be Adam just popping out another rush. Good catch! 65 damage isn't too much, but it sure as heck beats getting punished for popping rush. Yeah, no, that should have been true. That absolutely should have been true. Like, even at that range, that is a true confirm. Adam is dealing with a very disadvantaged situation right now as Mr. Table. I'm not saying he's doing it intentionally. I know for a fact he's not. But this poor guy's got some lag going on. And it is making life significantly more difficult for Adam. Any rush will kill at this point. He sees the chance. He's just gonna go for it. And unlike the grab, this will connect. The score is brought to 2 apiece. Does Adam still have it? Despite the laggy situation, despite his attacks not landing, because Mr. Table is from Dragon Ball Z and is teleporting as we speak. He's phasing through attacks. Again, I am not discrediting Mr. Table's abilities. Lag alone would not get you this far. And he definitely has matches that are more stable. But this one just seems to be the unfortunate sort of lag. It just seems like we're starting off this tournament with a hint of lag. Remind people what ARDS is about. It's about Twintel. It's about gloves. It's about lag. And most importantly, it's about rush. Those two were almost in sync there. That was great. Adam is going to switch back to the Chill Cooler Rain combo, as there are no pillars to really have to worry about. That curve can be a little more effective. And the tribal kind of struggles with the bump for a little bit more, so I can definitely see what he's going for here. And we have a very clean boxing match between these two as they're both trying to find one way in. Does get the knockdown, is trying to go for shield pressure. Ends up positioning himself very poorly, and that is going to free Adam Brain. Granted, he does have the health lead, but that was a very specific position that if he just positions himself a bit better, Adam would be in the hot pocket still right now. But just because he set himself up that spot, it was much easier for the rush to, or the grab to be like, oh, let's put you over here. Out comes this rush. It will connect. 285. Adam tried to step out of the way, but fate was not on his side today. The toaster connects first, and Adam will get knocked down. Tribolt comes back onto the field. That was just a very slightly misaimed tribal right there. We get the freeze. We're gonna see a grab. No, we get more cooler rings, more chipping and punching down. Adam's got his rush. He's just gonna opt for it. We get 300 damage, and it now is Table's turn to be on the offensive. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to capitalize on that stun under these conditions. Good 1-2. Could have got the kill, but he doesn't need it as Table dives straight into an uncharged barrage of Tri-Bolts. The score is now 1 apiece. This is our final game. Whoever takes this will be advancing further in the winner's side. Whoever loses this round will be knocked into the comeback graphic kits and have to do that long grind back up. It's only one, but you know. Yeah, that was a clean bait with that Tri-Bolt. There's a few arms that are safe to throw out. Tri-Bolt is one of them, especially at such a range. Table is just rushing into these attacks, and he is eating Tri-Bolt after Tri-Bolt. This is a shield break. Ooh, he's gonna go for the double. There's nothing Table could do against that Tri-Bolt after that. Nicely done. Adam has Table shaking in his boots right now with these pokes, these catches. He's like, you have been bred, my sir. And you could see Table was just starting to lose his ground, losing his focus, as Adam just started making better calls. And Table just falling for these traps, these setups, and yeah, he's getting knocked out there. Adam Brain, with an impressive recovery and comeback, will be able to succeed Mr. Table with a score of 3-2-2. Excellent matches from both. Adam Brain just demonstrating why he's like one of, if not the top Twintel in North America. If you want to beat him, you have to put your work in. And it's on top of that too. It's like he's been spending enough time developing other characters that if his Twintel is having that hard, if he's in a match where he's just having that hard of a time with explosions, he can switch to Master Mummy and he'll be like, I'll just eat the explosions. Because why not? Some of you might just say Wobbuffets, but I say we've got another match coming up. I don't know, I didn't have a good follow-up for that joke. Indeed. Tense matches, excellent gameplay from both. Even if there was some unfortunate netcode issues, but alright, looks like we are going to be waiting for just a moment as our players are not here. You know that tempting ranks. It's right there. You think it's good. It's a good way to warm up and stay fresh. Garrison, you here, buddy? Can you hear me? Or Glyph. No, Glyph. Glyph, you hear me? Exposition. Me versus Glyph. Go Buster Beach. Sudden bow. Fight your ribbon. Okay. I got the G's. I get them mixed up. We'll just leave it like this, because this isn't an official match. I don't play this game much. I'm doing the same thing. Why would you mix it up? See? No! No! You don't against the fun chunk. You don't against the fun chunk, Cliff. You respect it. Garrison is my favorite ribbon girl. True. So true. So true. You respect this fun chunk. I'll make you respect it. Oh, I was hesitant. I'm gotten bullied. That's too stupid. You're dead, dude. You're so dead. You're so dead! Alright. This is why you don't mess with me. This is why you don't mess with me. I'm not gonna play Rivet and Turdy. Oh. But you need a rematch. You see, that's my secret. I one and done people. I don't play this game for months. I don't play for months. I pick it up. I'm like kind of rusty, I guess. I creamed him. I end the stream. Okay, it looks like we are going to go to Buster Beach. And we've got our 2 players. Guess Maliv is participating. Look, if I had the time and energy to compete in these brackets so that I could reach the Invitational, I would love to. But my energy's elsewhere. I'm playing Sea of Stars. I don't have as much energy to compete. And also, here's a good question for you. If I was competing, who would stream and commentate the tournament? I mean, obviously, I could still do that while competing. I've done that before, and I've made people mad, because I'll explain what they're doing as I'm playing against them and commentating and making them feel bad. But you know, it's not good form. I will admit, when I do that, that is BM. And besides, I don't have the Nintendo Switch subscription to do that. It's gonna expire in like 2 days. I'm trying to get through as much of Eastward as I can because I am actually kind of enjoying it. but like in a couple of days I'm gonna just not have Wi-Fi or Nintendo Online, and it's gonna be lame. I know a lot of people in my family account are gonna be like, or a couple of people. I know one person in particular that's gonna be like, hey Malik, what gifts? Can you renew it? I'm gonna be like, no. I don't have money right now. That's why you should have given me some money. Subscribe. Donate some money to my Ko-fi. But enough about me. Enough about me. We've got a bracket going on here. Emperor managing to take the first point against Glyph. Utilizing this Popper Slap-a-Mander. It's a default loadout, but I honestly love Rhythm Girl's default loadouts. Like, 2 of the arms are actually mains. For like, or like, the Popper's an alt weapon that I will pick up. And then I've got the Slap-a-Mander is like a main thing. Like, those 2 arms are so good. They're so fun to play with. And then you've got the Sparky. I mean, it's the worst glove, but it's still a glove. You cannot argue with the glove so beautiful. With a glove. Yeah, it's a glove. That's all I'll say. As it stands though, like, this Popper Slap-a-Mander combo is just giving the run for his money. As the first point is secured for our Ribbonista. And Emperor sets himself in the lead. Yeah, I'm streaming right now. I am. If this was done next weekend, I wouldn't be streaming it because I wouldn't have Nintendo Switch Online. But I could have Nintendo Switch Online. I just need money. I make little melting beads and stuff. Something. Just find me, Planet Scrapstar. Donate some money. Genuinely honest, it would make a world of a difference for me. Because, yeah, I haven't had work in the last month. I mean, that's a lie. I've had 1 shift. Alright, looks like we are going to go straight back to Buster Beach. Alright. Diving back in, Glyph is going to be changing things up. We have a Lollipop stepping into the ring. Friendly reminder for everybody to check your posture. Make sure you're sitting nice and upright. You're not slouching over like a melting potato on your chair. You need to give your back some distance. Glyph coming in with the Twin 5-0 light build here. We've got a Popper and a Dragon. While I personally am more in favor of the Biffler Ice Dragon that Twin 5-0 runs, I respect and I appreciate the speed increase that the Dragon has and the wider coverage of the Popper, as well as the win confirms. Much easier to get than any of the Biffler confirms, and you get some saucy damage like that. You don't always have to go for the perfect build. Going for... That was a perfect, by the way. That was a perfect. This is something important to keep in mind. You don't always have to go with what is considered the meta. Like, a lot of the things that are meta aren't always the easiest thing to land or utilize. Like, Ice Dragon Biffler is not easy to aim. But you know what is easier to aim? Popper! And I believe Dragon is actually... I don't remember what it has. I think it just comes out a bit faster. But it's a bit easier to use. Look how it's working. Look how well it's going for Glyph right now. This was a matchup that he was struggling immensely with in his previous build. And now we've got Popper Dragon, and he is currently working on the second perfect. We get the grab to cancel it out, though. Nice catch there on Emperor's part. Ooh, that was a narrow weave for that attack. It looked like it should have connected. This will connect. Oh, he powered through. Did you see that punch? It looked like things connected, but that toaster came out in the nick of time. And it's going to allow Emperor to stay in the fight. Dragon's going to snipe him down, though, and Glyph will balance out the score. With a very impressive Pauper Dragon build. We've seen what Lillipop can do with the equivalent of that. I think Glyph's showing us... Sometimes I forget that you could just go with the safer options. Like, Pauper is absolutely the safer between, like, Biffler and Pauper. And Dragon's definitely the safer of the Ice and Fire Dragon. I respect this build. I fear this build. I could get destroyed by this build. There's been, I mean, back in the day, I would be destroyed by this build. I'm gonna flex and say I win today. But it's entirely real and possible that I would step in and I would get creamed. I could very easily, it's just a good build. And the big difference with that one is that Fire Dragon is Ice Dragon can be really good against heavies too, but Fire Dragon just gets the guaranteed knockdown. Where Ice gets the freeze, there's situations where you might get the freeze, and then they just throw a grab while they're still in armor, and then you land in that because your Dragon is still recovering. And you take 160 damage, 200 damage, 170 damage. Fire is just like, no. Pauper pushes them away. Biffler is really good because of everything Biffler does, but Pauper plays into what that playstyle is. Like, the reward that Glyph's build has is not as, like... I mean, Pauper into Rush is still there. But I would say that, like, the pop-off of Biffler and Ice Dragon is much more significant than what Pauper or Dragon can do. But that just means that you're just pushing your opponent into positions where you have an advantageous neutral. And then you just continue to win neutral because your loadout is designed better to handle that range. Why am I seeing the homie? What is it doing here? Look. Homie's my homie. Homie is homie. We love homie. This is a homie-friendly territory. It has... If we're not talking about Lockjaw, it has the highest rush aside. It is the second highest rush output of a weapon. It is even harder to land than Lockjaw. And its rush is much more easier to punish, as we can see. It didn't do anything. It's great at stopping rushes, though. It just sat above their head. They're not even aware it's there. And like, I do like the idea though. It is a great contender at this mid to long range. But it's risky because it leaves you open. But I can see what Emperor is going for. You see that Birdshot, especially being in the air as much? Oh, if we get a good read, this rush could actually turn it around. I don't think Emperor wants to go for it, but that rush could actually turn things around. But so, the Birdshot is meant, like you saw in that quick belt that I had with Glyph, the Birdshot does that for jumpy characters like Ribbon Girl. It's just as good of a defensive weapon, and on the ground, it is a much larger body, which means that it can kind of fight back against things like the Dragon Laser really easily. Whew, that was a spicy rush, but not spicy enough as the Pauper. ends up doing a respan. The dragon misses, and Emperor just goes for the grab. That is one of the unfortunate truths about Pomper, Cracker, Viffler, and Hydra, is they have them janky hitboxes. It's like the Mario recovery, if the Mario recovery was inconsistent in getting that final hit. Is this ARMS directed by Yabuki-sama playable now only on the Nintendo Switch? You are absolutely correct, my friend Mr. Resolved. You are 100% grade A, absolutely Yabuki combo correct. But this is ARMS, directed by Yabuki-sama, and is playable now only on the Nintendo Switch. Get it, play it, check it. Great game. ARMS nice. Oh, Resolve. Wait, where'd he go? Where'd Emperor go? Meta's actually got some things going on. I will say, the main... It's still gloves. These two are being a little fancy. These two are being a little fancy. But it's mostly still gloves. It's mostly still Toaster. It's mostly still Dr. Quilp. Most of the community has kind of just agreed to not play Dr. Coil. There's a couple of people that will still play Coil, but most of the community has kind of agreed that Coil is a little too painful to, like, since Bark always has a glove, he's definitely S tier. Absolutely. That sounds super true. Yeah, absolutely 100% accurate. As accurate as my love is for a bird of beef. But essentially, from what I've seen going on, is the community's there's a couple of people who are still playing it with, like, meta stuff. If I step in, I'm playing the same loadout I have played for the last 6 years. But there's a lot of people who are happily experimenting, trying different things out, and playing around with the field and just seeing what else is really out there. Like Slapamander, the best arm in the game. Makes me happy. Makes me happy to see it be used so much more. Now get this, follow me. I know this is a wild take, but imagine if your spring-loaded long-range arms were actually used in combat to that fullest range, instead of, like, getting up close and personal and not using the arms at all. You're just decking the guy in the face. How's that sound? How's that sound as a concept? Does that sound interesting? I don't know. Maybe it's maybe having people with spring-loaded arms utilizing their spring-loaded arms to punch, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Maybe we need to keep it down. Like, let's coil them up and just go for melee punches. You know what? We could just add in. Well, I heard from somebody that what ARMS needs is melee combos. Like, the rush is like a punching combo, not like a rush as in we see here, where it's like a fantastic flurry and showcasing of, or exaggeration of the arms to the nth degree, but like pop the rush and they just throw the arms to the side, run over to the guy, just deck him. Just like, just have like Max Brass, Kazuya, Twintel. That's what the ARMS fan base wants. We want a Kazuya, people. Just fly in from halfway across the stage, grab him by the throat, and just dunk him on the floor. And maybe we can add a little bit of smash spice and like send them flying into the air. Bark doing a flip. No, so what Bite and Bark do is Bite grabs onto the glove that Bark has, and he just spins him around. Bark is now a weapon. You bash the guy with the Bark. It does like 300 damage. Maybe 500. But it instantly knocks Bark out. But you get a yeet Bark. And chat loses it every time because you just knocked out that poor precious Puppers. He did not deserve it. And yet you do it every single time. Changing things up. It looks like Emperor is swept away to Twintel, and we are going to be keeping the similar loadout here. We've got the Papa, we've got the Homie. That is a comment. I'm curious about how this is going to pan out. The Actress Aura can be a little effective against the Popper. It doesn't have any effect against the Dragon. But the interesting thing to note here is Emperor is not really using the Actress Aura to its fullest capability here either. Like, it is more often in shield, more often doing light dashes. We do get a nice 285 there, missing out on a lot more of that damage. But, I mean, if you just get the Homie up on its own, we take those. The Homie in of itself is just a rush. That is a painful rush to miss here. That would have been a fabulous opportunity to set Emperor to critical. That would have been KO. We do get another pop. Emperor is now running low on HP. Just a hit or two more will be enough to take them out. There's the first one. Anything else will kill. And we get that as the popper sprays out. Emperor trying to rush back in. Bark just launches Bite at the enemy. That would also be kind of funny. You just like inflict self-damage. Now this is... I questioned this. I was curious about the Popper, or the Popper was a good pick, but like, and the Homie I'm kind of like, I don't know, but we got 375, I'll take it. That's a Guardian. That's the easiest rush to block in this game. This right here, you have like, maybe Megaton? You have to get such a hard read with this loadout to be able to make this rush stick. Because that Guardian, that Dragon both take a good half a second. I wouldn't even say half a second, a whole second to actually start going after the opponent. So they have a whole second of rush, winding up and being like, this is happening, to stop, process what's happening, and respond. That's going to be a KO right here. Good KO. Good KO. We're gonna pop, dive straight back in. We've got a rush on Glyph's side. He's technically an advantage in that regard. But we do have a lot of pressure going on from Glyph, or from Emperor as well, who's managed to get the first knockdown. Ooh, that is a rush. Oh, he didn't get it again. These two are just having an unpleasant time. Oh, I see why. I see. We have Witchcrafter play again. I feel like this one's kind of going against both players here. Oh my goodness, look at how zippy and zoomy this is. This is... Ooh, that's a 475. Neither of these individuals are moving naturally right here. That's okay. You don't need to move naturally in this video game. Nice connection with the dragon. We do get a reset. Unfortunately, 325 damage is still plenty. And especially in this situation, just that charge popper would have killed that dragon with probably a send into Magic Pixel. But both players are kind of looking on final hits. With 17 seconds left on the clock, Emperor has the slightest of leads. Told ya. Now Glyph has the lead, but anything should kill him except for a stray explosion. That is such a desperate play. Why did you walk into that? You forgot that explodes. Oh. Oh. Somebody please clip that. That's a clip, right? Chat. I know you don't remember to clip things. It's hard. I get it. I'm being mean when I say it like that. Look, chat. I know it's not always easy to remember to clip things, but we've had already at least 3 good clippable moments in this. If you see a hype moment, you see it in the ads pop up every once in a while, I think. Or no, I took it down. Oh, no, it should come up. But, you see something cool? Make a clip. You think it's cool. You're watching your 2 teammates play, and you see one of them do a cool thing, you are doing a disservice by not clipping them. You are doing a disservice. Clip your friends. Have something to show off. You know what would make ARMS really cool? You know what would be really cool and help this scene out? When there's a tournament that's being streamed, you make a clip, you share it. Show it off, be like, look how cool this was. Look at how my friend walked into this explosion and died. And put themselves at risk losing this match because of that. This is a big oof. But it's on the... We just had that happen. Emperor going to be sticking with the Twintel has swapped over to the Toaster instead of the Homie, recognizing a much more aggressive, or a much more dangerous and looming threat here. One that's not always going to be sitting back in a corner. We've got Glyph coming in with a, not necessarily the meta Kid Cobra. We've got Guardian going on instead of the clapback, which makes it a slower rush. We saw how much slower it is there. It takes like the popper missed, and then the Guardian just walked. It walked. The Guardian walks so the clapback can run. And even after the clapback has ran, the Guardian is still walking. If you excuse me for a moment while this match is going on, I need to take care of something quickly. And with a well-utilized Kid Cobra, Glyph is going to be able to take the first point. Now this is the final game. If Glyph is able to take this, he will, even after walking off into that homie, he can regain his pride and move on in the winner's bracket. But Emperor still has a shot in this. If he can find a way to get 2 points turn this into a 2-0 situation. He'll get that third point, playing the match, and he'll be advancing. Popper causing a lot of damage, a lot of strain on that homie when it is charged, and on the side of the user, it takes chip damage, it just self-detonates. And it is scarily painful. Cliff not walking into that explosion, you will be stepping aside, and even gets a Popper punish. We get the rush. We get everything. Well, we got the first half of everything. We got the first half of everything. I might have rushed that comment. We're getting a little janky here. And the Guardian will allow Cliff to regain his honor. Walked into the explosion. That was a little rough, but it's okay. Still won the match and will be advancing further on to face off against others. Good games from both of you. Delightful match. Very entertaining. I liked it. I give it a yas. And with that, we have our next bracket set up. Or our next round of brackets. SNG took Garrison down 3-0. Unfortunately, our astrology ninja head up in the clouds somewhere we can't find him. Ended up getting disqualified. So Eddie will be advancing to face off against SNG, and Adam will be facing off against Glyph. On the bottom side, we have Mr. Table dancing with Emperor. You might be asking me, believe. Those were sick matches. Those two matches we saw, those were sick nasty. You're telling me that we're about to get more. I've got some bad news for you. These matches are only going to get more hype. They're only going to get better. They're only going to get more wicked, more intense, more drama, more power, more meta. It's probably going to get more meta, I'm going to be honest. Like, if there's anything that's going to come up from this, it's going to be the meta. Like, once the sweat starts rolling, you know the gloves are coming on. Petition for the beverage to be water. It's like 99 times out of 100, the beverage is water. Maybe I sprinkle a bit of lemon juice into it, so it's got a bit of a kick. But it's pretty much always water. I know, it's so exciting. Stay hydrated, my friends. Alright, so we are here. We have yet to see these two play in this tournament. We've got SNG, the Spring Man Wonder, the Comeback Kid, the Modder of Magnificence. And we've got Ed, and Eddie. I've yet to see Eddie play. I am curious and eager. Which is very cool. Perfect. So I want to see what Eddie's capable of doing. Maybe I've seen Eddie in the past. It's entirely possible. It's entirely probable. But there's no better way to see than to commence with our first winners semi-final match. Eddie versus Super N Gamer. What does the N stand for? Nintendo? News. Nebula. Neptune. Needs. Super needy gamer. It can't stand for mods. SMG. Oh no, that's actually terrible. I just realized. I'm like, super modern gamer. That sounds cool. And then I realized that's SMG. I'm like, oh, no, everybody's just gonna read that as something else. That's not good. Bird hanging out on a tree outside my window. Today's a good day. SNG going in with the Min Min. Eddie going in with the Ninjara. I wasn't expecting. Well, I mean, I've seen SNG play the Min Min before. And he's got good stuff going on with it. His Springman is definitely much more efficient, much more capable. But this is Min Min we're talking about here. You're on a stage with the Dragon Arm. You don't have to. Even if he wasn't good, he would still be good. Because it's the Min Min Dragon Arm. But you know you're in for trouble because not only is this Min Min, this is a good player. He knows this video game. He's played it many hours. He's capable of doing scary things. And we're seeing a lot of that scary stuff right now as he is just chucking Coolerang after Coolerang. And it is catching and tapping and chipping away at Eddie's health like no man's business. These tubes are getting burned out as Eddie's trying to find some ground, trying to find a knockdown. He's going to whiff the rush as the tube protects SNG. That said, Eddie is holding on to the slightest health lead, utilizing Ninjara's movements to swiftly step out of the way. We get a chip, we get the rush confirmed, and I do believe that in more optimal situations would kill. 25 seconds left on the clock. Eddie is quickly building up another rush. Might even get it out in time. SNG is trying to build up his as well. We get the freeze. That's going to be the kill. No ifs, ands, or buts. Quick confirm and a quick point to boot. Next round, quickly setting up. I don't see either player wanting to change up their arms. That Roaster, that Tri-Blast, both are doing the job superbly. It's just getting this matchup, getting the pressure going, and getting some kind of knockdown on SNG. And you can see SNG does not want to advance. He doesn't want to get too close because he does not want the risk of getting knocked down. That's going to be a clean block. And now it's SNG's turn with the rush. He gets knocked down. Eddie needs to be pressing as soon as that knockdown happens. Because SNG is currently like playing pressure still, which is not a good idea when you don't have your Dragon Arm. As we can see by him eating another 120 damage and we get the knockdown. Eddie is just playing it a safe distance, and like I just was saying, SNG now able to get his Dragon Arm back in action. That would be a shield break if it was anyone else. We do get the full rush though, 370 damage. And now it's Eddie's turn. He's gonna go for the grab, saw something coming out, but he's gonna get punished. Sorry. By a well-used movement. We get a couple of chip hits. The shield finally, or the ice thaws, and both players are on pixels of health. SNG has his rush ready, about, and he is going to get the KO before he even gets it. Eddie just not pressuring there enough. There was a great moment. There was a great moment where SNG was just going aggro with Min Min. Forgot that he was even playing Min Min, I'm pretty sure. Like, the way he was going in on that knockdown, it was like he forgot that Min Min needs to, like, step back. He ate a little bit of damage, worked out well enough, which is very good for him. But Eddie, especially in that matchup, Eddie, my man, my friend, I don't know your pronouns. Eddie, my friend, I understand you're playing Ninjara. I understand that it can be scary sometimes. You need to you need to press when you get the knockdown. You don't have to go all the way. You do not have to go face first. Especially when you're Ninjara, please don't. But you do need to get close enough to make a clear message that they are not allowed to get that dragon arm. You need to be more proactive. Especially against a minion. Like, there's a lot of situations where you can get baited into stuff, but I guarantee you, the risk of getting baited and learning how to counterplay that is better than sitting in this corner because you let your opponent get Dragon Arm and losing half your health. Like, there's... You have neutral. He was backing up. You can move forwards a little bit. Eddie! Oh, Eddie! Oh, this is a good stage for him. Or it should be. I mean, it's bad once Minion gets the Dragon Arm. That's the big thing. But if there is a stage where you can discourage Min from getting the Dragon Arm, it is this stage. Why is... I know the classic, like, trying to be the Punisher, and it's a good strategy, and it does work from time to time, but I'm seeing big things here. There's a lot of fear and hesitation in approaching for Eddie, unfortunately. And then the other thing, too, is he's not working on these confirms. He doesn't have these rush of lockdowns in effect. Which, if he's a newer player, makes sense. He hasn't had time to really familiarize himself with these mechanics. Ooh, nice pressure! We might have a break potential. SNG was in the air. That was definitely a good... Could have been a KO. But SNG throwing himself in the air again. Classic easy punish. Even as a noob, I learned that people who got too aggressive throwing themselves in the air, they're using up their resources. If they're too mashy, they're in the air, they don't have anything. You just hit them. You just hit them! Let's go, Eddie! Takes away that Dragon Arm. SNG switching over to Crack. I think this is a terrible decision. I don't know why he's got this. Unarmed. Like, the way Eddie is fighting, a lot of his attacks are uncharged, which means that he has an uncharged Cracker, or Tri-Blast, that just wins against the Cracker. SNG doesn't get the Ice Chains anymore. He gets a good burst damage from these things, and it comes out fast, but... So far, I'm pretty sure it's the Roaster that's been doing a lot of the work here. Oh, that's a rush. Go for it. Go for it. Yeah! Eddie gets a point here. 1-1 apiece. Nice catch there. Nice window. And if there's anywhere he's going to get that point, it's going to be here. But yeah, Eddie needs to be better at capitalizing on his rushes. Because I'm seeing a lot of situations where he just presses the rush button because he has it. Which is fair. But... yeah, I'm seeing people popping off for both sides. We got fans on both sides. That makes me happy. It makes me happy to see people cheering on both sides. Because both of these players are really good. And they're both really good. But... I need to see him putting more pressure and walking into more setups for this rush. And I want to see him being more aggressive against this minion. SNG needs to not use Cracker. That's my feedback. That was a terrible decision. Like, yes, a great player can make a terrible decision and still walk away okay. But he probably would have won that round if he had the cool right. I'm just gonna be honest. Or two Roasters That is on the cards as well. That would have been a nice option. Get the freeze, we get the roaster hits. SNG is applying the pressure here, and he manages to push Eddie down. I love Ninja or Shield teleports so much. His teleports are so infuriating, but so fantastic. It's such an exciting addition to this game. We get another freeze. That could have been a potential break or a rush bait, but we're gonna get the grab. And while Eddie takes 150 damage, I think this counts as a W for him because one of the pillars that SNG was leaning on so much, it got broke. Like, that was actually a good call. Like, that thing takes a lot of hits to fall. And Eddie just got it down immediately. We do get the KO here. SNG claiming the first point. But this might actually be a better spot for Eddie as he now has, or as Eddie. Again, I don't know the pronouns. I need to be careful about that. There's a lot more breathing room for Eddie to work with. That said, there's also a lot easier time for SNG to be getting these rush pop-offs. We get another freeze, and SNG looking to try to close things out. The pillars are gone, but SNG is at full health. And Eddie, our poor friend here, is critical. Nary a single hit could they withstand. They do not stand that final hit as SNG brings the score to 2-1. Alright, so I'll remove Scrapyard. And Foxy, if you ever want more points, did you know that you get channel points by subscribing? You get bonus points for subscribing. And you also get improved generation of points. Or, you can always stay tuned. I don't stream often, but if you watch my other events, even if you just turned it on and you left it on lurk, you get points. You get more points that you can use to redeem for other things. I see we got a couple of clips. Thank you for those clips. Be sure to share them around. Post them in my server. Post them in my server. Post them on Twitter and at Planet Scrapstar. Let me know you made that clip so I can see it and I can appreciate it. Let me see that clip. Or post it in chat right now if you want it. By all means, I invite you. Just as these two invite each other to a battle to the death. Nice trade there. Eddie will be able to block the rest of that iced chip. Did not get the explosion though because of that trade, which is a nice interaction that the Coolerang hat or Freeze Effect have where it takes away the charge. If it was something like Toaster or whatever, it would immediately knock SNG out. But because the explosion has that little bit of extra, oh, he's just barely out of reach. Doesn't get the knockdown. Eddie really needed that knockdown. We get another freeze. That's definitely the grab this time. He has been playing it so patiently up to this point. Ooh, Eddie pushing him back, and we do have a quick roaster slide into the side though. And this would be match point for SNG, but that doesn't mean that Eddie is out. We got the Dragon Arm charged up. That Coolerang is once again re-equipped, and it is staying on. After we saw that display of the Cracker, we're like, we're not going back to that thing. Dragon Arm ready. Rush is at the ready. Eddie's farming up a rush of his own. He does have a light health lead, and he gets the grab. 150 damage. He's just going in for like chip pokes. Starting to recognize that SNG's getting a little greedy with these Dragon Arms. He's just so confident that he's able to set these up that we got a cheeky little 80 there. The 80 damage rush, or the 80 damage poke, or no, what am I saying? The rush got punished. The rush got punished, which is unfortunate. And SNG does get the Dragon Arm off of that, but Eddie is staying very calm and focused. He's getting some good pokes. He got another knockdown. And SNG is just desperate for damage now. He pops that rush, 350 damage. Gets the Dragon Arm loaded. Eddie still has the health lead. We've got 25 seconds left on the clock. SNG needs to make some big plays. That is not a big play. That's another 150 to his own face. And he wants to take him down as fast as possible to prevent him from farming rush or potentially setting a comeback, because that is on the table. 8 seconds left, and he gets the KO. Eddie is still in this. Chat, I need you giving energy to your person. Give it to your person. Let's hear it for SNG. We need to hear it for Eddie too. Eddie is still fighting. He's warming up a little bit better. He's starting to find better moments to poke and swing around this Boomerang, which is imperative considering how dominating it is. He's also doing a notable job of boxing it, as we just saw that Boomerang swing by, and he just punched it out. Ooh, we get the rush and the 305. SNG likely looking for a rush here. You see, he is pushing himself into the hot pocket there, because he just knows that Eddie's not really approaching. We get the freeze. He wants to go for a grab there. Goes for the rush instead. Wasn't a full rush either. We did get a little bit more than a grab, but 240, I would have just gone for the grab there. That rush had much better dreams, much better purpose there. I feel like SNG's starting to just get... I feel like I'm picking up a couple of those from SNG. Out comes this rush. SNG trying... Dude, I feel like you're trying to BM Eddie here. You could have just shielded that. But he was so set on the punish game. We get another nice rush, 185. Eddie is still at a lead, but any charged hit will kill, or a straight Tri-Blast Bolt will take SNG out. We are now at 2 apiece. Narrative of that story? Greed. There was so much greed in that one. You gotta put some of this money in the bank, dude. Do some investing. You can't... Maybe save a little bit. I think this is a good call. This is probably a good call. Because he's getting a little too greedy. He's getting a little too aggressive with his Min-Min. He needs to slow down, pick a character that has a bit better tempo, and also mix it up. It is time to start mixing it up. And what better way to mix things up than to pick a new character? Breathe some fresh air into this battle. Introduce a mechanic that Eddie might not be as warmed up to right now. With some fantastic deflects. I'm smelling some witchcraft going on. I'm seeing a little bit of zoomies coming in from these attacks and movements. But so far, these explosions and roasters are still giving SNG a hard time. He has the best arm in the game, Slap-a-Mander, but unfortunately, it does not seem to be doing what I like to see it do and create plot armor. It's not creating enough plot armor here. Nice dodge, though. SNG does get the punish, which he definitely needs to be able to take some tempo away from Eddie, as Eddie has got the health lead. Even locked into this corner, he is just chipping away at SNG's health. He is being ninjara as possible. Knocked into comeback rage. This is enraged. This is full power. Everything stays permacharged for SNG moving forward, which I don't know about you, but I find that to be a pretty nice thing. Eddie is now in KO range from Rush. Everything else, SNG will need a couple of things to work with. Eddie finds his way out. He's going to try to charge in. I feel like he should have rushed a bit ago. We've got 8 seconds left. I want to see the rush. And you need to rush. What did I tell you? This man is This man is a capitalist right now. He is just taking advantage of everybody's work. He's gathering that money. He's hoarding it like a dragon. He is pushing and charging. Something is bothering him. It's entirely possible it's my commentary. But this man needs to cut out this read. He's going for these risky plays. He is not playing it safe. He is not playing it focused. And Eddie is doing what Ninjara does and punishing Greed. This is the Ninjara classic story. Somebody gets their head a little too high up in the sky. They're like, I'm untouchable. Bam! Ninjara shields you. You die. SNG isn't critical. He needs to turn things around. He needs to start getting ice chains. He needs to go for some... Oh! That was that. I think that hurts. That one more hit. SNG is just throwing punches. He is farming Rush. He can get a KO with Rush if he gets it ready. He gets the freeze. Eddie is locked down. He gets the Slap-a-Mander. That was the recovery. He's just like, I'm pressing buttons. You're not allowed. Eddie got close, but he had just enough to get onto the Magic Pixel, and SNG was able to clutch it. Kept a cool head, kept focused. He did what he needs to do. He stopped being greedy. Props to him for not being greedy. You can see he's definitely settled down a little bit. He is in his zone. He is just boxing. He is doing arms meta right now. Grabs are against the rule unless it's Eddie landing it right there and then. It is all about just throwing out 50 punches, getting that punish with the Slap-a-Mander. We get a nice read and SNG is turning this around. Eddie is losing his composure as SNG is now playing the game and not being greedy. Gets the KO and he turns it back in his control and will be walking away with a 3-2 score. We got this. We got a story. We had the arc. Did you see how they went back and forth? SNG set himself up on the tower. He got a really good lead. Start to get that confidence. We know what happens when you get too confident. You go down the drain. And he got brought to his knees before he was like, what am I doing? Alright, that we are moving on to our next bout. It is Glyph versus Adam. Great set. No, that was a phenomenal set. That was... You saw classic missteps coming from both players, and we got to see them both, like, figure out how to work around those missteps and refine themselves to become better players. We saw growth in that one. We saw Eddie starting to figure things out a bit more. We saw SNG getting a reminder, a lesson, and overcoming his struggles. That could have been an episode right there. If you were watching a show, that one match would have worked as an episode. We start off hype, we get some cool fights, we have the back and forth. Then we have, like, if we're setting SNG as the protagonist, we have the protagonist getting to their folly. Starting to find a bit of overconfidence, a little overzealous in what they're doing. We're seeing the pride. And we're seeing him begin to fall from it. And then we see the protagonist catch on. And we see the opponent starting to get wise to these strategies in place. And then we see the protagonist be like, they have a moment of clarity and they piece themselves back together and overcome their challenge and claim the match. Now, we're going to go over to two players who are pretty much using the exact same arms. We've got a punching arm and the Scully and Bub. Both come out fast. They're very boxy, except the Scully is a light arm. And they both have manners. This is a very entertaining setup. Both are very safe. I can imagine it is going to be hard for either to find the rushes. Glyph has a greater advantage, especially with them both being armed. Glyph has an advantage in his rush in the fact that he can get wind control. But I think these two are looking for shield breaks. If Glyph doesn't get a charge slap commander like that, what he's basically doing is he wants to just punch the shield as much as possible and get arm damage. Wait, well, I mean, both of them want to do that. Both of them want to just go in, get the chip, and then pop rush. Alright, Glyph's gonna put away the Bub. We're gonna see Cracker. This game still kind of plays this. Oh, okay, never mind. Name of the game is very different. Slapamander can be incredibly scary for Mechanicus, but can also be very easy to dodge. It depends on how you're moving and how you're utilizing things. Nice shield break there. We're not looking at... Well, actually, no. Full rushes can actually happen now. Because neither player has, super safe posts. Cracker, I'd probably still say is safe enough. Where Adam might have to be going for shield breaks. Or hard reads. That's a pretty good read. But he's not practiced like I am with the manners. He didn't get the mana rush in. Loading. Out comes this rush. That's going to be some shield chip damage. Adam trying to rush in for a punish ends up eating some power. Cracker is actually doing a notable amount of work here, having that wide range and making it just a little harder for Adam to swift around. On top of that, he has to make these big dashes, these big investments, and then the Slamamander comes in from the other side and just catches that movement. That could be a shield break, it's not anymore. Not going to go for a dive punish, but we are going to get the catch here. As he sees Adam recovering, we are going to get the KO. Setting Glyph up with 1-0. And reminding everybody that in the Master Mummy Mechanica matchup, Mechanica is advantaged. You might question, believe why. It's that movement. You saw how she's dashing? It's that while Master Mummy has big beef and good guard, it's that momentum that makes Mechanica really hard for Master Mummy to catch. And then she has enough girth to be able to play the field. especially in a situation like that, Adam had 2 Manders. They can be really good against Mechanica, but they kind of need something to lead the Mechanica into the Manders. Otherwise, Mechanica just the dash is good enough that she just kind of flies out. Granted, that can be said about most characters. Very rarely is it a good idea to go double Mander. Technically, you can like lead somebody in with 1 Mander and then catch them with the other, but there's a reason why it took so long for Manders to kick off in the competitive ARM scene. They're hard to use. The rush is exceptionally powerful, but it's so hard to aim. In a neutral, it is such a deadly weapon, but it has a janky hitbox that can be inconsistent and connected. You have to be practiced with this thing, and even then it can still be inconsistent. I'm going to switch over to Twintel, looking to go for a hard Mechanica build here. Not going for the Cooler Rain, not going for the Chilla that is so well known for. We're going Roaster and Boomerang here. Just getting that hard knockdown, hit that hard win confirms. Just things that are guaranteed to work. Managed to break that rush, and you saw Glyph trying to step out of the way, was not able to step away soon enough. This Twintel is definitely a very effective choice, especially with Glyph not having any explosives. It's a lot more difficult, a lot more timing focused to be able to get things going. But while Glyph does not have any explosives, the greatest alternative would probably be a Toaster and a Mander, or like some kind of quick curvy arm that can kind of like you do a lot of your poking with the Toaster, and then you catch them off guard with the Mander. You continue to do Mander stuff. Glyph is looking for a rush. Adam needs to recognize that and just wait things out with shields. He was doing Actress Aura. That's fair enough. Same difference here. Definitely a good call. And that is going to be able to give him that first point. Out comes the Twintel Rush. It is a clean whiff though. That's going to be very beneficial to Glyph. They are looking for some kind of misplay to be able to pop this rush as this pillar slowly goes down. That is an excellent moment. Adam just threw out both arms blindly. You need to do a little more than dash forward and come out swinging to get all of that meaty damage. Nice 100 to continue to further things off. We have a whiff with the grab and the roaster punish, but Adam is going to be ready with another rush right away. Looking for a chance to be able to just bring this lead back in his control. We get a nice 325 damage, and that is exactly what happens here. 40 seconds left on the clock. There's a lot that can happen still. Glyph is about to get their rush. That was such a bad Toaster, though, and Adam is going to capitalize on that. Playing the point. I should also ask, just making sure, how's my audio?
Masterpiece.
How is my audio? How have I been during my commentary during these matches? Am I too loud, too quiet, too meaty, too EB, too gravy? On a scale of 6 to 547, with 18 being the highest, and 326 being the lowest, how would you rate my commentary? I don't know if there's an answer. How do you calculate with those variables? Why am I like this? Alright. Moving forward, we resume the semifinals match, and we've just seen everything from Glyph today. Glyph is like, hey, You remember the ARMS has characters, right? We haven't seen too many of them. Do you want to see all the characters in ARMS? Do you want a cool showcase of what ARMS is like? What ARMS is about? That ARMS is nice? Well, let me show you, Fred. Here's Lillipop. Here's Max Brass. Here's the Ribbon Girl. Here's Mechanica. Because outside of me, it's so rare to see Mechanica. It makes me happy, like, let's been playing Mechanica for a bit. And while Grass is a little busted, I mean, we've only seen this Grass once so far. And even though I feel like he's a little overpowered, he's such a cool character. Check him out. When he is dashing, much like Springman and Springtron, he gets the deflect. That deflect is really good at punching things down and stopping attacks from connecting, which can open up great punish windows. If you do a full charge, much like Min Min, you get, instead of a Dragon Arm, you just get magic muscles. You saw it a couple of times during this. He'll get it as well during grabs. We'll have to see if he can get something here. He got the knockdown, so we're definitely seeing it. He gets big, he gets meaty, he gets angry. He can't even hide behind that pillar. He's so big. It's funny. And much like Springman, when he is low on health, he turns red, he gets enraged, and he gets that buff state permanently with permacharge. And let me tell you, if there is one thing that is like one of the scariest things in this game to fight is a 25% health max Grass, and you don't have rush. Or your rush knocks him into enrage. Alright, Adam is looking for a chance to pop the rush at this point. Being very careful and thoughtful with these boomerangs as well, which is definitely very beneficial. Because we'll survive any charged hit right now. Only a grab or a rush will kill. Now, any charged hit should be lethal, and this rush is also lethal. Stop going for the chakram, went for the finishing touch. Definitely a good call there. He got a little bit more damage off of that, I'm pretty sure. Adam's shield was quickly chipping down. You could see the fear in his eyes. He did not know what to do in that situation. I don't think many people would. That is what I'm talking about. Even in a situation like that, it is exceptionally scary. Let me know how that is. We got a chakram stun, but Glyph is knocked down, so he does not get his grab confirmed. I'll do, yeah, I think we can go a little bit there. We get a good bit of damage, but not clean enough. We do, all Adam needs is like a charged hit. A charged hit, or, there it is. Alright, he gets it. That could have been a really scary place. Because of that armor, while that would have normally KO'd somebody, anyone else, if it was uncharged, Glyph would have actually survived, and he would have continued trampling. It could have been super deadly. It could have been a Sans Undertale moment. Quick update on the lower side. Mr. Table was able to take Emperor out 3-2-0 and is currently facing off against Eddie. Garrison is awaiting one of these two to head over to the lower bracket. And we'll be facing off against them. We are now in a match situation here. Match set. If Adam can take this, he will be advancing to the winter finals. Glyph needs to win this and the next to be able to advance to the winter finals. He has his work cut out for him. Curious about this Guardian choice. Again, I'm personally not a big fan of it, but I do also know that Kid Cobra is hot. And in a more actual informative point, I do know that Kid Cobra actually can get away with any arm in the game. He is the one character in this game that I am confident could actually use any arm in this game and be competitively viable. No other character can do that as far as I'm concerned. Not even Brass, not Twintel. Like Twintel, I guess Twintel's, no, there's arms that like gut Coil, or I'd say Twintel, I meant Coil. There's arms that would gut Coil and make her like completely worthless. Kid Cobra does not know what that means. He does not know what it's like to be gutted. He can't be. He is too perfect, too pristine, even though he isn't the best character in the game. Left with a notable lead. It was entirely possible for Adam to turn things around in the situation if he got followed up with that rush and got the full thing, and then he landed a grab. Glyph would actually be in a situation that Adam might be able to take the lead there, but it would require a lot of work, and Glyph worked really hard for that point. I think it's only fair that we let that with that lead that Adam's just like, I'm just gonna hold on to the rush here. For a second, I'm not sure if Adam was considering double boomerang. I actually would not be opposed to that in this matchup. We saw the baits, we saw the smooth movements scaring Adam into popping his rush. He finally does get a boomerang to push Glyph away, but we can see he is fearing it. Guardian again, just not doing anything for rushes. He needs to get that Tri-Blast to fully connect, and just unfortunately could not do so. Unfortunately, while the Guardian isn't necessarily like doing much damage, you can tell that Adam Brain is actually like really stressed about this thing. It's stopping a lot of his attacks and causing like a notable barrier and obstruction. Look at that. He only took 15 damage. He gets the rush too. We do get a restand. Perfect shield right there. Gets the grab as well off of that Tri-Bolt. Really needed it after that interaction. 20 seconds left on the clock. Adam Brain at the slightest of health deficits. He needs 2 hits. Or no, 1 hit. No, he needs a second hit. He needs maybe more than a second hit now. 2, 1. Glyph is going to even the score. That's a good place for the Guardian. That was a good showing of the Guardian. I like that. He won me over a little bit. And I always love it's like it's usually Twintel who's like the one that's kind of hovering, waiting, and being like, "You can't hit me. There's a few seconds left. You literally can't hit me." But this time we had a giant shield, and it's like Adam's like, "How do I get around the shield? I need to hit him like once." Come on, man. Put the shield down. We will be heading to sparring ring. I kind of want to see... I want to see Adam bring back his classic Guardian. I know he's not going to. But it would be kind of fun to see him bring up the Guardian so that we have a Guardian mirror. You know what? I'm happy. We got my favorite heavy, the Whammer. The coolest heavy arm. Another game 5. Yeah, we're just gonna stream all the game 5s. It's fine. I don't know what it is. My streams and people. That's what's going on. Put it on the resume. Me. Going into this next round, Glyph is holding on to the lightest of... That catch! That catch! 360 damage right into Adam Brain's face. That Whammer is not singing its song. It is not making its point. It is not marking its stake. We finally do get some damage, but just did not get things lined up there. Just poorly utilized rush is putting me into a dastardly situation. We get the freeze, but Glyph is so bouncy that like most of these freezes are just knockdowns. Like it has to be a hard read. I applaud Adam for picking this stage. I can see why he would want to do that. But oh, we finally get it, but dude! You didn't have to do that to him! You did not have to do that to him! You had the health lead. It was gonna be time. Just let him get the point. Just let him get the 160 damage. Out comes the rush. It's gonna be blocked by the shield. He got punished! Did you see those hops? Guardian, what are you doing with this Guardian Glyph? I have not seen Guardian plays like this since Adam Brain. Like, we are seeing the last person to make notable Guardian plays like this getting Guardian. Like, whew. Someone please tell me you clipped one of that moment too. Out comes the rush. It's going to be a safe shield. Glyph is just going to dash right out of the way, completely unscathed. He is looking probably for a rush or some kind of chip. He sees another moment! 380 damage. Glyph, what are you doing, my man? What are you doing? This man is out of his... He is wilded! He has unlocked the gamer within 6 seconds left. There is so little that Adam can do here. He needs, like, I don't know, Chilla into grab? Gazooks. Good golly, like, holy habanero. Jeez. Glyphman. You. That was a fight. That was a comeback. Who, I don't know who I'm wanting to vouch for at this point. Like, I've seen SNG do some great stuff. I've seen Glyph just do this. I've seen Eddie. I always love Adam Brain. Like, our top 4? Oh, Garrison is still here too. We have yet to see Garrison. Alright, it looks like we're going to do Glyph versus SNG. We're going to go straight to the winners finals. This is good. This is the spiciest invitational I've seen in like a good year or two. What is what do they say? What did they say? What did they say? No cap. No cap. This is the sickest invitational in ARMS. These matches are fire. I am having such a good time watching these. Chat. You know I've got my Scrapstar initiative. You know I do invitationals there. Like, I get people to do 1st to 5s. So you get to see those players like really go at it. Are there any matchups here that you've seen this stream or players in this tournament that you would love to see go off against each other? Let me know in the comments. I will make notes. And if I can make it work, once I've got my Nintendo Online back, I will immediately run. I will get those players to play. If Glyph gets me back my Nintendo Switch Online, one of those matches will just immediately be me versus Glyph. I'll just do that. But or if somebody's willing to help me get my Nintendo Switch Online back up and running once it goes down in like a couple of days, that would be great. And then if that person requested that, I would honor that request. But once I've got my Nintendo Switch Online back and running, let me know. Who would you like to see do a 1-to-5 against each other? Do you want to see Glyph versus Adam, or do you want to see a run back between those two? Would you like to see... I'm waiting on these two... Oh, randoms. I've been completely immersed in my own little bubble that I didn't even notice that they just wanted randoms. I thought they were doing stage striking. There we go. Do you want to see Adam versus Glyph? Do you want to see Eddie? We've only seen Eddie once. I guess that's NG. Do you want to see Eddie versus Adam? Do you want to see Eddie versus Mr. Table? Or Glyph? Do you want to see Glyph? We didn't even see Astro. Do you want to see Glyph against Astro? Let me know in the let me know in chat. I want to hear. I want your opinions. I want your opinions. And on the note of opinions, we've got a very, very exciting match coming to you. Our winner finals, SNG versus Glyph. We are diving straight in, both of them. Once again, Manders. I think if anything has developed finally in this meta of ARMS, where it's grown in any way, I think it's the development of Manders. People have started to figure it out. It used to be like, the only other thing that really genuinely contends with gloves, in my honest opinion, is the Mander. It has great boxing, it has incredible cut range, its rush is fast, and it has the fastest grab in the game. Its fire and wind are both respectable elements. And it also is probably one of the best counters to, like, Shield Cobra. I have played against other Cobras that utilize Shield, and I brought double Mander, and they just crumble. If you're wanting feedback, if you come across a Shield Cobra and you're like, I'm having a hard time with them, what do I do? Figure out Manders first, of course. Then use Manders against them. Glyph switching away from the Slam Mander is just going pure boxing. We have double Bub. Eddie might be able to deflect them, but Glyph can just immediately recover and just throw out another punch with these. Like, this is the Rush Generation build. He doesn't get the knockdown to toasters, but these come out so fast, you can just throw them out constantly and with very little consideration. And you're still going to be safe in a lot of situations, and you're just going to suffocate. Like, you can't even boxing game this. I think N's big thing is the Mander to be able to beat double Bub. Like, he has to get really well-timed movements out of the way, and then throw the Mander to catch Glyph as he's throwing out his punches. Quick round goes to Glyph, and now both players are ready with their rushes. He's just going to throw out that rush blind and ready. And SNG will be able to cleanly jump out. We've got the shield break clean and ready, and SNG, if he knows anything, if he's learned anything from my constant yelling and ramblings, it's weaken shield, press rush. Don't even waste your time. Don't waste anybody's time. That shield is about to go down. Unless you've got like a homie, you'll press the rush button, because you're going to get most of your damage. Nice grab, and SNG will be able to claim the first point. Kept his calm, steady, focused after that vicious flurry of the bubs before. He's like, keep it calm, keep it steady, stay that focus. And we see him be able to take a point as a result. Nice deflects, nice reaches with the Slap-a-Mander. That was like... And he managed to get a couple of choice pokes with the Chilla as well. Like, Glyph was put onto his back heels during that. And then, yeah, that rush. That was a greedy, greedy rush from Glyph. You never see the expectation. Like, back in the day, I would do it, and I know other people would, where there's situations where it's like, I know this person's dodgy, and they don't go for the shields. So you would pop rush, and then you would jump, or you would move back in a way that lets you watch them as they dash and jump, and then they just watch in horror as they realize that they've just walked into your rush. And they're not going to dodge it. It's so delightful. Like, that's something that, like, there's a lot of meta improvement and refinements that have been going on. But one thing that I've noticed with the competitive ARM scene, rush game has gotten way worse. Well, not necessarily like it's gotten worse, but like the sophistications, the strategy, and like intricacies that have been in, like, he took away SNG, half of SNG's health with just Ice Chain Chucks. SNG, you're getting too greedy again. Stop playing like me. Stop playing like me. Like that! Like, that's what I'm talking about. Just, like, recognizing that opponent does not want to shield, and just going for a movement that lets you keep them in your focus, and then you just smother them out. Because they're so set on punishing you that they don't realize that you're just... they can't. Glyph starting off this round with a light lead, some good control, just going for some cheap pokes, looking to build rush. We do get the Slap-a-Mander, knocking some rush out of him. These jumps could be a really good rush opportunity, but he's not able to find that. We get another dive, and Glyph is just... he is playing on another level right now. Another level! He's not even being greedy. I mean, it's just Kid Cobra stuff, but still. And here we see, this is one situation where I'm not going to point and say lag. I've played Mander enough, that's literally just what it does sometimes. Oh, he manages to get... I don't think he gets the KO, though. He didn't have the finishing touch. 30 seconds left on the clock. It is going to be a kill. Glyph just wants the death. He just wants to see SNG die. He just wanted the point. He wanted that point so bad. 17 seconds left on the clock. SNG is trying to farm rush here. He's trying to keep pressure on Glyph, trying to farm rush, and he's going to be rewarded as he gets the KO in one final chill hit. And he's got a sizable rush lead now, too. Rush comes up and ready. SNG quickly pushing Glyph into the hot pocket. This Slap-O-Mander can now do its work. Why are you chasing him like that? You have deflect, my dude! I smell fear in SNG right now. I smell like a little too much respect for this Kid Cobra. Like, I know Kid Cobra's hot. I know he's been, like, reading you a couple of times, but, like... There's a little bit of hesitation and uncertainty in what SNG is doing. We do get a good 1-2 though. Nice punish. Doesn't go for the rush. That could have potentially been the KO right there. But if SNG gets a full rush now, that will take Glyph out. The hard part is getting that rush to connect. And I know SNG is one of the better Mander users, but he doesn't get them as consistently as he needs to. Nice swift movement from Glyph. He does step out of the way and he pops! Springman into the air as SNG struggles to find his grounds. And Glyph will balance the score to 1 apiece. Kid Cobra is hot, he intimidates any opponent. That's his Pokemon ability. He lowers the attack by 1 stage of all of his opponents when he enters the field. Is this going to be another best of 5? I'm going to take a quick moment. Look at that badge that SNG has. Do you know how you get that badge? You get every other badge in the game. So just to note, like, SNG's level of experience with this game, not only is he a phenomenal modder, but he has obtained every single badge in this video game. Many of which are impossible to obtain now. That's an impressive feat. Focusing back on our current bout, SNG really just going ham with these punches, throwing on in the odd grab as a rare mix-up, but like, you can tell he doesn't want to go for grabs, like, ever. He's more going for grabs just because. If he starts punching, he stays punching until he's knocked you down, though. And he's been utilizing that pretty well. This stage is doing such a good job of just preventing Glyph from really getting these wide sweeping jumps that he was getting in Buster Beach. Because of that upper ground, if Glyph is lower down, that, like, if he's higher up, those jumps are impossible. They're monumental. Finally, SNG gets some kind of punch. But if Glyph is on the lower ground, his jumps are, like, notably weaker. Like, they are short, they are meager, they are slappable. Slappable, my friend. Glyph being a little too aggressive there. SNG doing some nice poking. We are seeing that rush level up that I've been talking about. I would like to see it at the start of the top 8, because these are, like, the idea of, like, these are the top 8 players. But at the same time, I'll take it where I get it. Winners Finals, we got players starting to utilize rush mind games. I like it. I like it. We get the freeze. He's going to go for another freeze. He gets the catch, and he is going to set himself up with the 2-1 advantage. SNG looking for one more win to advance to Grand Finals. Glyph looking to... He needs those 2 wins. But we have been seeing so many best of 5s. Everything has been best of 5. So many best of 5s. Is this going to be another best of 5? Chat, what do you think should happen if we don't get a best of 5 on stream? What do you think should happen? Should I gift a sub? We cry? Should you sub to me? Should... Oh my goodness. Oh, I forgot about so many of these alerts. I need to change them to be more tournament friendly, because most of my streams are just tournaments now. Ooh, we are starting a little awkward, a little janky here. We got a bit of witchcraft. Heading into our next stage, DNA Lab. Mander can be pretty good here. I feel like this can be an either way stage, as this is a lot of room for Glyph to do Kid Cobra movements. And his arms have a lot of nice curve. But SMG kind of has some really good direct attacks, and Mander can curve around that pillar. I think this is an even stage for the two. And it's more just based on, like, player preferential, like, behaviors. So far, those preferential behaviors are treating each other, like, quite evenly, as SNG just finally starting to set up a lead. Nice grab read there. Sets Glyph into critical. Any charged Mander or a grab would be enough to KO. And we're going to take down yet 2 more pillars with that grab. He took out 4 pillars with 2 grabs. One of which, one pillar went down naturally, and the other is untouched. Yeah, it's literally untouched. So, SNG gonna walk away with the first point, and now we have a clean battlefield. I feel like this is a happy situation for him. And it also sets him in match points. Out comes the rush. We do have the Birch Up connecting 250 damage. It is now SNG's turn to come in and try to get some kind of rush. The last tube is now being utilized. And Glyph quickly stepping away. SNG just gonna get rid of it. That's a fair call. I respect that. There's too many cases where you'll have people, like, trying to desperately take the lead when and dancing around these pillars while not doing anything to touch them. So you'll get into the one player will have spent the entire first game behind pillars and wins, and the other players at a notable disadvantage, like not even with like 30 seconds left on the clock. There's no way they can bring it back, and they're still trying, and they're not even like, maybe these pillars are a problem. We need to get rid of them. I respect SNG's movement and setups in that last round, because he took down so many pillars once he started to recognize that Glyph was abusing them. Well, not abusing them, but taking advantage of them. Or trying to, at least. And he's like, not in this house. We don't need these. We get the freeze. He's just going to go for the break. I applaud it. Only 115, which isn't too much, but I mean, we still got the shield break as well, and we are getting intense pressure going off of that. I'd call that a dub. I'd call that a dub. SNG also quickly setting himself up with a rush advantage. Glyph has yet to use a rush, and SNG is already just about ready with another rush of his own. Glyph finally gets his ready. Slapamander sets him down to just above critical. He is now in critical. Pops the rush. SNG gonna try to step back. He dashes back and eats another 10 damage. 220 isn't a huge amount, but it's still pretty painful. Magic Pixel for Glyph. 40 seconds left on the clock. He is looking for a moment to come in and hit SNG. being very patient in that shield, recognizing that SNG just doesn't even want to go for the grab. We get a quick poke. 23 seconds left on the clock. I think, yeah, that jump locked him into that movement. He could not dash out of the way. And SNG saw it. Went for the KO and will be walking away, breaking our best of 5 train with a 3-1 score. Phenomenal games between these two. Excellently done. Took a good amount of energy out of me. But hey, chat. I guess you gotta cry. That was what was decided. Tears must be shed. Looking at the bottom side of bracket, it looks like Adam Brain decided he had enough for today. I'm assuming it's because it got late. Let me see if I can see. Let me see if I can see. Something came up. Alright. Granted, at this hour, that's fair. Which brings us to the comeback finals. Which honestly is kind of surprising. Things have smoothed. This was a smooth, swift bracket as well. Outside of that delay at the start. We have chugged along. This has been an exceptional... Yeah, no, this has just been a really good tournament. Good pacing, good action. Lots, just... We are eating good. We got good variety, too. Like, there's really, really not much that I could ask more. Like, what more could a bear ask for in this situation? I guess a bear could ask for a twin tail. Wait, is this a rematch? No, I don't think this is. Yeah, no, Mr. Table fought Adam, so we did have a twin tail mirror match before. But it was Adam versus Mr. Table. Now we're having a twin tail mirror where it's Glyph versus Mr. Table. Going into this bout, Glyph will be going Tri-Bolt Toaster. Mr. Table going in the Tried Steady True Toaster Coolerang. Who will come out on top? Who will take this and move into the grand finals for a shot at the championship? There's only one way to find out. Table starting off with the lead, getting a couple of cheeky hits with the Coolerang and a nice couple with the Toaster. We get a feisty grab as Table starts with the rush lead and knocks Glyph into critical. Do we get it? Do we get it? We're looking one hit away, but he is denied his perfect. As Glyph starts trying to find some tempo, trying to turn the tides. But the Coolerang says he's not cool enough. And Table gets the first KO. Tries to go for the Tri-Bolt confirmed, but just not fast enough in that follow-up. We're just going to throw out the rush here, though. Nice 300 damage. Even though that he got punished with a rush, he's just going to punish Table with a rush of his own. Is this going to be a grab? We're going to try to get a grab, but there's just a stray too many Tri-Bolt blasts. Catching that grab attempt. Get another freeze. And we're going to go for the grab this time as Glyph is a little too anxious to go for yet another punch. Glyph set to critical health once again. Tries to go for the grab, but in this world it is nay. We do get the grab this time, as he is definitely going to be fishing for rush. Gets a nice block. He is set even lower on health. Anything will take him out at this point. But Table isn't that much safer either. I think the Toaster or a Grab would kill here. I told you. Tri-Bolt wouldn't have killed. How am I so good at this? I know the exact... Well, I don't know the exact... Like, if you told me to tell you what number that was at, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I can tell you what will kill. Toaster would have been lethal there. Tri-Bolt? Nah. Nah, that's Magic Pixel. And what did we get? Just barely had enough health and just threw out that quick final punch. Got the KO and claimed that first point. For a second, that looked like it was all Guardians. I was going to be very confused. But Popper and Tri-Blast just have, like, similar colorations to Guardian. I just realized all of Glyph's arms match. They're, like, stylistically matching. In, like, coloration, at least. Not in the aesthetics. Glyph is... I don't know what Table is doing right now, but he is just eating Tri-Blast after Tri-Blast. Is this just gonna be the Tri-Blast kill? This poor man's entire health bar. That would have been so funny if it was a perfect. Like, this man's entire health bar has been charged Tri-Blasts. Alright, we do get a uncharged chip, or we do get the uncharged hit and a charged chip as two additional things to lead into the finish. But that was kind of funny. Look how slow the Guardian is. Glyph got a hit. He set up the Guardian. He's like, the rest is yours, Guardian. You need to do this. And the Guardian's like, bet. And it just walked over and Table's like, nah, I'm just putting on my shield, man. Like, I'm not doing this. You don't deserve this. And the Guardians just like start smacking the shield. It's like, ah. Glyph trying to poke his way back in, trying to set himself up with a rush confirm or something of the sorts. Woo! That nice scary grab, just kind of throwing it out. Tries another one, hoping that he can get a kill here. Glyph is set to the Magic Pixel and is taken out as a Cool Rain sweeps and tickles his feet. Score is 1 apiece. Glyph looking for his first point. Table trying to assert a lead. Which, considering who he's up against, Glyph, anything, like, that lead would be so monumental, so beneficial. But as it stands, it looks like Glyph has a different plan for this story as he quickly sets Table to half health and is just chipping and eating through. Table trying to find a way in, but he gets grabbed, confirmed by a stray explosion. Oh, the one Guardian shock. We finally see it. We finally see a charged Guardian connect in this tournament. It only took 3 years. It only took 2 hours and 40 minutes. Just a meager 160 minutes. diving right into our next battle, it looks like we are going to be heading to DNA Lab, which we saw a lot of the cool things that Glyph likes to do here. We see how he loves his pillars and his tubes. That table's not necessarily that against them either, as we have a full curve build, just like trying to hard counter this Guardian. But with these tubes in the way, it can be like especially difficult. That said, we are seeing some really smooth work. We saw that Cool Range just weave between the tube and the Guardian a few moments ago. And the nice grab keeps Table in the game. Trying to fish, poke for something. This is a very difficult rush to land as well. Basically like looking for like a charged Thunderbird or a hard read with the Cool Rain. And even then it might, oh no. Oh no. Well, that got put under the table. Appears we are having a slight technical issue. I'm not sure what's going on here, so I'm gonna take this moment. We're gonna take a... Unless Glyph is... A tournament is a tournament without at least one DC. That is true. That is accurate. I'm thinking we could take a moment and listen to some music. But if we do that, that makes editing the video hard. Oh, no, I can just clip it out once I move over to YouTube. And we are back. Thank you so much for your patience. And I am here to share some very sad news. Sad news. Unfortunately, Mr. Table is broken. Split right in half. His router, I mean. As in his internet is down. And is unable to return. Can we get some F's in chat for Mr. Table? Maybe some... F's to pay respect. Press F to pay respect. We salute you. It was a glorious run. But alas, it was not meant to be. And as such, Mr. Table will settle in at a very happy third place. If we can also give Mr. Table a round of applause for the phenomenal games that we did get to see. Like, exceptional playmanship. And best of luck in future events. Congratulations on third place. With that said, it is time for us to move over to the grand finals, where we can have SNG face off against Glyph. How do I clap emote? Like the built baked in one? The star asterisk clap asterisk slash clap applaud sounds. Yeah, there you go. That works. So we can get things underway. Alright. So we are back. We have the unfortunate circumstances that... Here, I'm going to start over once again, because I'm gonna cut this all out in the actual one. Alright, we are back. Thank you all so much for watching. Or thank you all... Alright, we are back. Thank you all so much for your patience. I do have to bring the unfortunate news that, unfortunately, it's so unfortunate that I've said unfortunate multiple times, that Mr. Table is unable to return. The router is dying. Probably because it cannot be on him and it needs to be on a table. But Mr. Table was busy playing. It was just not meant to work out. So he is going to settle in on 3rd place. Congratulations to him. Like, even then, it sucks to get knocked out from the internet at this point of all times. But, you know, if he gets 3rd place, we'll take those. We take it. We'll take it. And with that, we will be moving into our grand finals match, which is going to be against Glyph in the comeback brackets, trying to take on SNG to see who will be claiming the position of our top dog for season 13. The coolest number, the prime number. If you put them together, you get 4. I don't know why that's important. But 13 is a relatively cool number. And this has been a relatively cool tournament, aside from that one disconnect. As was noted before, no tournament is complete without somebody disconnecting some way through. Unless it's offline, in which case that's Evo Japan. Let's see, who gets the first ban? So, Glyph is going to be our first banner. And from there, we're going to figure out where exactly we're going for this grand final dance. That's unfortunate, like, some of our top seeds just couldn't make it through. Mr. Table actually surprising in the brackets. He was seeded 7th, and yet he climbed all the way to the winners finals. So we've got our 3rd and 4th seed at the top. These two really cannot be underestimated. And I feel like this is going to put a little bit of a light on our expectations of them moving forward. And I got to give some to Eddie. Eddie had a good... He almost beat SNG. He is the bottom seed. Do you know how badly everybody would have popped off if Eddie beat SNG and made it to the winter finals? That would have been sick. But 'tis not the fate that we had. And as such, we will commence with the grand finals match. Glyph versus SNG. The fight to take the belt, to take the title. We shall commence. SNG quickly diving in. We are running with Slapamander, Chilla. Glyph, I think he was using this last against SNG. He's not looking to utilize the shields. Mander is just too good of a thing against those shields, at least from my personal experience. So it's definitely a pretty safe call. And that Birdchuck just allows him to be a little more effective and defensive at stopping some attacks, as well as just being a monumental obstacle. That dash just costing him to confirm. That would have been the kill. You saw him just kind of like edge up a little bit to try to reposition. If he just jumped or something, I'm pretty sure that was a mispress. Like, he meant to press the jump. But, or he had charge, so he got, like, the awkward forced full dash. But, we still take these. SNG tried to bring it back. Actually, technically, I think this worked out better because SNG ended up utilizing his rush. So now Glyph is in a rush advantage. That said, we'll have... Rush advantage is not everything in this match. The first few hits can really make the difference. So we'll have to see how things are panning out. We get a grab confirm. And I guess it's going to be pretty beneficial because he's got like a sizable lead and he's also got this rush so he can kind of just even lose this. And he's still in a pretty good place as SNG is knocked into critical. Permacharge is really scary, but he doesn't, at least he doesn't have to worry about armor. That almost connected, he just needed to be a bit wider. That was a rush press if I've ever seen one. I think SNG was too close for the grab to actually work there. I saw a grab attempt, but I think it counted as 2 punches. Because he was too close. That was... Welcome to Grand Finals. We are in for a treat as that were to tell me anything. Looks like we are going to be heading to DNA Lab next. Curious to see if Glyph is going to try to change his approach here, or if he's going to try to egg SNG into breaking all the pillars yet again. So last time it did not work out well enough in his favor, and SNG managed to run it through. He spent a few moments. He could be considering some different arms. He is not considering different arms. Honestly, I don't blame him. There's no reason to consider other arms. And I question if he was considering Min Min, which could be a really good pick. But the way he was playing Min Min, I would see that Min Min and I'd be like, you've just lost a set. It would feel like throwing to me right now. Like, he'd have to really, really clean up his Min Min to take it to Grand Finals against Glyph here. Gets the grab. Glyph is going to land 170 damage. Fun fact about ARMS characters, the grabs all do different amounts, even though they're essentially the same. Kid Cobra, for example, does 170, as you just saw. Springman is a clean 150. Mechanica is at 160. The biggest rush in the game is Master Mummies at 200 damage. Not going for the grab. SNG just showing his punching ways. Like, even when he's gotten the freeze, he still is just throwing out punches. That could have been 150 damage. That could have been a neutral setup. He's just gonna recognize that he's not in a great place. Tries to just get rid of a pillar instead. Lands a nice grab. He does actually still have a chance to turn this around if he gets the rush, but the popper stops. All momentum takes him down, and Glyph will take this point. What Min Min would be throwing against Cobra ends. At least what I saw. And while you could make the argument that Min Min does get... If Min Min gets Dragon Arm, she can be advantaged against Kid Cobra. But if Kid Cobra just hits her with a popper, she loses that Dragon Arm, and then the Kid Cobra pressures her well, it's far worse than Springman. Gets a nice 170 damage grab. Glyph is not out of this round yet. Essence popping the rush, but does not get anything as Glyph just chooses to wait in the shield there, recognizing that there's really not much room for SNG to be able to get any capitalization off that rush, unless if Glyph was being just that greedy. Also, if Min Min was the answer for SNG to beat Glyph, why have we not seen it yet? If it's as obvious as you're wording it there, why haven't we seen it yet? Checkmate atheists. Glyph is going to be able to claim the next point. And we are going to see... What are we going to see? I believe... So that leaves Glyph looking for one more for the bracket reset. Oh, that would be bad. Okay. Well, you said what Min Min would be throwing against Cobra. Which... What that means is... You're saying what Min Min would be throwing. Like... No Min Min would be throwing there. Which is the opposite of saying that Min Min is bad against Kid Cobra. So you said the opposite of what you meant there. Perfect. Thank you for joining me in language arts. Thank you for joining me in writing today. I've been your teacher, Miss Evie. I am a professional childcare worker. I hope you have all learned some nice things today. Heading into... Oh, jeez! I've been giggling about, like, semantics. Well, Glyph is just tearing. He wants this win. He is vying for that bracket reset. SNG walked away with a 3-1 in the previous, but Glyph is looking at a 3. He is eyeing the 3-0 here. We get the freeze. Is SNG grabbing yet? He finally goes for the grab. But unfortunately, he just couldn't keep that tempo. Like, when I say, I comment on that, like, it is a valid strategy. It's actually very effective to just never go for grabs. There's so many cases where, there's so many fights where it's just like, you never press the grab button, and the opponent just doesn't do anything, and they lose. But, like, I feel like he needs to be a little more, okay, fine. You know what? You made your point. Maybe don't press the grab button. Don't press the grab button, SNG. Okay, maybe it would have been good there. Look, now I'm splitting hairs. SNG struggling to keep up under this pressure. He does have an opportunity to go for the KO here. If he gets a good read with the rush, gets a little bit more damage. He has to be careful, though. If this center platform breaks, that's going to be curtains. We only get 15 damage and the shield break. That's still a bit. That's still a bit. It set Glyph up that, like, any charged hit will KO. I'm pretty sure even an uncharged Mander would do. But I guess we're never going to find that out because Glyph finds a nice rush. And we get an immediate bracket reset as Glyph lands a score of 3-0. That is a fast and furious. Like, whew. Wow, I am really turning into an old person. I am slowly turning into an old person. Why am I saying things like this? But no, that was an impeccable run back. Like, brought the bracket reset with a clean 3-0 sweep. And that means we're on bracket resets. This is anybody's game. Glyph can close this out and he can become champion. SNG, he's still in this. Maybe a little rusty, maybe a little cooled down and needs to heat up again. But he needs to find his tempo. He needs to find what he had in that first match with Glyph. We can go DNA. Okay. He needs to find that spark. Starting things off, Glyphid? He was considering that nade. I don't know if it would have been a good decision. It was an interesting decision nonetheless. But yeah, it was certainly a decision of all times. But he is going to be sticking with the Popper Burchuck. It's just good coverage. It's high shield pressure. It's so difficult to contend with in so many situations. SNG is going in fierce though. This round is working out so much better for him as Glyph is knocked to half health. SNG is still over half, and that lead is quickly dashed away as Glyph steadily sets himself back into the lead. We've got to disarm. He's just too busy boxing to really see that chance. Fair enough. He does get a little 80 chip. You can see he is trying. He is fishing for some kind of confirm to lock SNG out and get the KO from here. Knocks SNG into enrage. We do have a bit of witchcraft, but the grab does go through as it deservedly should in that situation. Nice parry with the Burchuck, but both are quickly knocked into very perilous situations. SNG can only eat a straight popper. Everything else will be enough to take him out. We've got a weakened shield. We've got the rush. He is just going to leap in as SNG is too fixated on his boxing to either see the weakened shield or to be able to react to that. And so Glyph is going to be able to take him out. That said, moving in, SNG is now in the advantage. He has the rush ready. He gets the health lead. He just needs to be able to press while keeping his wits about him. Because if there's one thing I've noticed during a lot of these fights, it's that SNG will just kind of lose his focus and just get a little too tunnely, and then his opponent just punishes him. And it's probably his biggest weakness in competitive, is that he will lock himself into a set rigorous motion, and it's very effective, it's very dangerous, it's very scary. Like, you can see him do a lot whenever he's got that momentum and he's keeping up that tempo, but if they do one thing that gets out of the box, just one thing, his entire strategy falls apart. And then he has to set up that momentum again. He has to get back into his groove. Like, Glyph has gotten so many excellent reads with rushes, so many excellent catches. He's just barely going to survive off of that. He's losing that, yeah. He got baited. That was a bait. He's like, I'm going to hop. SNG's a little too hesitant to pop the rush there. So he's like, I'm going to hop again. And SNG is like, wait, he's jumping. And then he just air dashes and is like, my rush has more coverage. You forgot that. And in that height advantage, he just ended up whiffing it. And, I know he got that one win in DNA Lab, but I can tell that Glyph has found a way to play around this properly. And SNG is fishing. He's like, Glyph's gonna do the same thing that he did before. I just gotta get him to do it so that I can win here. I don't think this is his stage anymore. Glyph has figured out how to, like, play the stage against SNG. And the problem is, SNG definitely can figure a way to make this play back in his favors. But I'm gonna be blunt, it's not happening. This is another situation where it's like, he saw results before, he wants to see those results again, but it went from 1-0 here to SNG, to 1-1, to 2-1. He can bring it back to 2-2, But if we get to 3-1 here, and he picks this stage again, I'm just gonna start the closing speech. I'm putting the cards on the table. If he picks this stage one more time, like, yeah, Glyph has figured this stage out. He's figured out what SNG is trying to do on this stage. He's adjusted his strategy, and SNG is still doing the same thing that he did the first time in DNA. He needs to change his strategy, and he needs to figure out what's happening right now. If he can't do that, and he picks DNA Lab again, I will start the closing ceremony. I'll just start chatting about stuff, and we'll just watch as he loses. And then we'll see if it's like, oh, we get another nice grab. Manages to get a bait. He's getting some tempo. And then it'll be funny though, because if he ends up winning, then it's just me doing the closing speech, and then he wins and I sit there shocked. So I get dunked on. I feel like there was a good amount of shenanigans going on, some witchcraft happening in that last round. Which is unfortunate. Hopefully they were helping him. Or hopefully not, so that like the standard tried and true ones are the ones where he is getting through. But yeah, right now, he got caught by a rush. He is looking for another chance to go in for a rush. He gets the knockdown. He doesn't have too much of a health deficit. That could have been a really good rush. That was like the perfect rush moment, and he's, again, just so set on being pushing his aggression that he didn't see the Slapamander in the air into the Slapamander rush. Like, yeah, the tube is kind of in the way, but I'm pretty confident that that Mander would have curved and connected if he aimed it well. Nice rush. You need that. You need... Got the... Alright, what do you pick, SNG? Please do not pick DNA Lab again. Please do not. He has a chance to do this. Alright. So, I would like to thank you all so much for signing up for... Or thank you all so much for tuning in for the Season 13 Invitational of the ARMS NA PR... I'm fumbling my words here. This is the PR13... Season 13 of the ARMS NA Online Invitational. Thank you all so much for signing up, or to those who signed up. I would like to congratulate Glyph for taking first place, SNG for settling in on second place, Mr. Table claiming a very cozy third place. Adam Brain unfortunately had to step away and thus set himself up in fourth place. And then Eddie with honestly an impressive sixth place alongside Garrison. And then of course we do have Emperor and Astro, who Astro unfortunately just couldn't make it. He was here and then he disappeared. And I mean, Emperor had impressive plays, but unfortunately, like, these players are so good. Like, SNG's incredibly good. Glyph is on another level right now. But, yeah, unfortunately for him, it just was not enough. I would like to thank Frosty and Loss, as they are the current organizers for the ARMS NA Online seasons, and they do a phenomenal job. If you have yet to, I strongly urge and encourage you to go check out the bi-weekly procrastination. Check out Ohio ARMS on Twitter, or look around for them elsewhere. Sign up for their ARMS stuff. The bi-weekly procrastination is by far one of the coolest things out there. Like, I love how approachable their tournaments are, just because of that. Of course, if you appreciate me and the work that I do, you can always support me here. Check me out on Believe on various platforms or Planet Scrapstar. Those are usually where you're going to find myself. I do have my own Discord server as well. You're welcome to join it. As well as I actually have my own ARM series that I'm redeveloping called the Scrapstar Initiative. If anybody's interested in signing up for that. I can just drop a quick link. Let me go find that. Where do I have the link? Do I have it? Let me just make a new one. Yeah, everybody did do phenomenal. SNG was doing great until he decided to pick DNA Lab 3 times in a row. But, you know, mistakes happen. Let me get the invite out. As it currently stands, everybody is welcome. Generally, a lot of the people there are going to be NA, but there's the link to the Scrapstar Initiative. Ooh, that is leading to the staff room? There is no staff. Oh, there is a staff room. Anyways, I don't think it'll make a difference. Everybody is welcome to join. It currently hosts Ninjala and ARMS events. Would love more faces, more people signing up. And maybe you'll be selected for the next Invitational that I run ARMS in. Again, congratulations to Glyph, as I said at the start of that match, for winning this tournament. Congratulations to SNG for taking second place. Very phenomenal plays, really good matches overall. And yeah, I believe that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Ciao!